The eternal question of wealth and poverty has haunted human thought from ancient times until today. In every society, people wrestle with the same mystery. Why do some seem to grow rich overnight, while others toil for a lifetime and still cannot escape hardship? Is destiny predetermined, or is it the character, conduct, and way of life that truly decides one's fate? The ancients left behind countless stories of cause and effect, like mirrors reflecting truths for later generations to study and draw lessons from. Among them, the tale of the two brothers, Ma Luong and Ma Thien during the Ming Dynasty, stands out as particularly profound. It reveals both the irony of fate and the strange fairness of moral law. Only virtue can sustain wealth, and only righteousness can preserve blessings over time. Let us step into the story in its entirety, then reflect and search for the lessons it offers for our lives today. Long ago, during the Ming Dynasty, there lived a great landowner known as Tien Van Luong. He was wealthy beyond compare and famous across the region, but what made him unique was the way he lent money. Unlike others, he never judged by collateral, land, or family assets. Instead, he looked only at a person's face, temperament, and spirit. To the rich who were arrogant, selfish, or greedy, he refused to lend even a single coin. To the poor who were humble, honest, and sincere, he would gladly offer capital, sometimes even without security. One day, two brothers of the Ma family came seeking his help. The elder, Ma Luong, wore patched clothes and bore the marks of poverty, yet his eyes shone with clarity and his manners were gentle and respectful. Tien Van Luong sensed in him the integrity of a man who, though poor, would never abandon morality. The younger brother, Ma Thien, looked more polished and spoke cleverly, but his gaze betrayed calculation and greed. After much observation, Tien Van Luong gave a large loan to Ma Luong and only a small sum to Ma Thien. He warned them both, money is only an external thing. If you wish for prosperity, you must first preserve goodness in your heart and strength in your virtue. Without these, gold and silver will never stay long. From then on, their paths diverged. Ma Luong set out with his capital to trade. He was honest in all his dealings and won trust wherever he went, yet misfortune plagued him. On his first journey, bandits robbed him. On the second, fire consumed his warehouse. Once, he was falsely accused and even thrown into prison, losing everything again. Time after time he rose, only to be struck down by cruel twists of fate. Villagers shook their heads, calling him unlucky, saying he lacked fortune even when given capital. Yet through every trial, Ma Luong never resorted to dishonesty. He refused to cheat, steal, or harm others. Though poor, he kept his heart pure. People pitied him, but they also respected him deeply. Ma Thien's story unfolded differently. With less capital, he relied on cunning and opportunity. On one trip, when the brothers carried silver together, a dispute arose over its ownership. Though it rightly belonged to Ma Luong, Ma Thien managed through trickery to claim the larger portion. At the time, it seemed a small quarrel, yet this act became the turning point of his life. Soon after, famine struck the region. Grain became scarce, and those who still held silver could buy food at low prices and resell it at enormous profit. With the silver he had seized, Ma Thien quickly grew rich, rising from obscurity to become a wealthy man admired by many. Despite his success, he was troubled by guilt. He knew that his fortune had begun with silver that should have been his brother's. In remorse, he offered to share it, but Ma Luong declined, saying quietly that money belongs to you. I was never destined for it. To cling to what is not mine would be useless. He chose instead to remain poor but righteous. People who heard this tale reflected, wealth and poverty may be a matter of fate, but virtue alone determines endurance. A man who clings to virtue may remain poor, yet he is secure. A man who grows rich through greed may prosper, but he can never be at peace. This story leaves us wondering about the relationship between destiny, chance, and character. At first glance, it seems unjust. Ma Luong, who lived with honesty, endured endless misfortunes, while Ma Thien, who used cunning, rose swiftly to wealth. Does this not contradict the saying that the good are rewarded? Yet cause and effect do not operate like instant transactions. They resemble seeds planted in the soil. Some sprout quickly, while others take years or even lifetimes to bear fruit. The blessings Ma Thien enjoyed came not from wisdom or labor, but from an accident of circumstance. The poverty of Ma Luong, though bitter, carried with it a hidden blessing, the planting of seeds of virtue, that would one day bear lasting fruit, if not for him, then for his descendants. This truth appears not only in old parables, but also in history. Consider the stark contrast between Cao Cao and Liu Bei in the Three Kingdoms era. Cao Cao was a genius strategist, brilliant and ambitious. He commanded vast armies, controlled immense lands, and gathered endless wealth, yet history branded him a crafty tyrant. His brilliance was overshadowed by suspicion, ruthlessness, and a willingness to sacrifice lives for ambition. He was wealthy and powerful, but never loved. His legacy is studied with caution and remembered with distrust. Liu Bei, by contrast, began in poverty, making mats and selling straw sandals. He struggled all his life, often defeated, often forced to depend on others, yet he carried a heart of benevolence. He honored brotherhood, treated people with sincerity, and sought to protect the people under his care. Because of this, men of great talent, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Xu Zhiliang, followed him with loyalty. Though his kingdom was smaller and his victories fewer, Liu Bei won something far greater than territory. He won the hearts of generations. History reveres him as a ruler of virtue, remembered with admiration long after his death. Who, then, was truly rich? The man with endless treasure but no trust, or the man who left behind respect and honor? The modern world offers the same contrast. Some entrepreneurs in real estate rose suddenly with speculative bubbles. Their fortunes skyrocketed, their names appeared in headlines, and they basked in admiration. Yet when their wealth rested on greed, corruption, or lawless shortcuts, the collapse was inevitable. Some found themselves facing courtrooms instead of banquets, stripped of reputation and left empty-handed. Their wealth, though vast, proved fragile and fleeting. Set against them is someone like Nick Vujicic, born without arms or legs. He entered life with almost nothing, no advantages, no opportunities, no material hope, yet he built within himself a strength greater than riches. Through faith, resilience, and boundless courage, he transformed despair into light. He became a speaker, writer, and teacher whose story touched millions. People who saw him did not see a man missing limbs. They saw a man overflowing with spirit and compassion. He possessed no fortune in gold, yet he gave more to humanity than many billionaires combined. His wealth lies not in possessions, but in the lives he inspired. Looking at these stories together, Ma Luong and Ma Thien, Cao Cao and Liu Bei, the fallen magnates and Nick Vujicic, lesson shines clear. Wealth without virtue is unstable, like a palace built on sand. Poverty with integrity holds a hidden richness, a seed that grows into respect, trust, and legacy. True wealth is not counted in coins or titles, but in character, compassion, and the enduring light one leaves behind.